Folding in. You can have right or left leg forward. Move the flesh away from the sit bones. And as you set the hips down, take a moment and elevate the shoulders up to the ears. Roll them back a little bit. And as the shoulder blades soften down, feel as if you settle right into the sit bones, right and left. Place your right hand on the thigh facing down, and then your left hand on the thigh facing down. Let's close our eyes. Just place the head back about 2 inches. And find that space right at the bottom of or at the top of the collarbones, at the bottom of the neck. And rest there for a moment. We're going to roll our attention to the nostrils. Move to conscious breath by thinking about an inverted V. If you were to take your index finger to the outside of both the index fingers actually, to the outside of the mouth, and as you're breathing, think of an inverted V from the outside of the mouth to the base of the nose. And then with that head displaced back just a couple of inches here, find that hollowness in the little tab where the throat and the shoulders meet. And for a few moments, just breathe. First, be aware of that inverted V. It's as if you're like a laser beam, bringing breath right up to the base of the nose. You move your attention to that little spot at the bottom of the throat. Exhale, down. Notice that place between the eyebrows at the base of the nose, and then think directly down to that place in the throat, or where the neck and the collarbones meet. See if you can start to lengthen the breath a bit and add a bit of intensity. As if you're gathering life force up with your breath. Start to find a little pause at the base of the nose. Almost a resting spot. At the bottom of your next exhale, move your attention to the right hand and do little clockwise circles with that right hand. Just bringing attention, and then with the left hand, and then with both. When we open our eyes, turn the palms up, lift that space right at the base of the neck, and open up. At the top, lower your chin, bend your elbows deeply, interlace the fingers. We're going to turn the palms up, and with very soft elbows, bring the elbows towards your ears. Notice what happens in the abdomen, and then twist to your left. Let's release our left hand down and have this wrist of the right arm here. Press into the hand on the ground And then stretch into the hand above you. Drop that right hand down. Glide the left behind you and take a simple twist. See if you can go back to that inverted V of the breath, right up to the base of the nose. A little pause and then a twist. When we release this twist, just let both hands float to the side, palms up. See if you can lift up from that place. Interlace the hands with a deep bend in the elbows, lower the chin, soft elbows as the palms lift up. And then turn a bit to the right and release your hand down. Again, you're gonna press, so isometrically press into that right hand and then expand up with that left. Just feel where that stretch is coming from and then allow the hand to come down. Glide the right one back. Use your gaze to assist your twist. Bring the breath up the nostrils to an inverted V and then twist a little bit more. We're going to repeat that, maybe just a little quicker though. Release, lift, then the elbows, drop the chin, find that lift, and a slight twist to the left. See if you can anchor in your right sit bone this time. Press into your left hand and actually use the contraction of that left side, driving the right arm up. Right hand comes down, we'll twist to the left and release. Breathe up. Big bend in the elbows, a lowering of the chin, and here we go. Slight twist to the right, release, press, contract those muscles, and drive the left arm up. Come across for the twist. Use the gaze. And release. We're going to take our left foot, bring it up, and plant it on the ground. As you do, you can kind of adjust, make sure your sit bones are nice and connected. And then think of the crease of the knee as kind of lifting up and as if you could really move into the knee here a bit. Okay, left hand's gonna slide to the inside, around the leg, and plant to the ground. So you're using the dip into the left hip, the knee, and the ankle, and then press into the hand again. Float the right arm up. You can always keep the elbow bent and lift here. So if extending through the arms goes into your neck, use your elbow. Take a few breaths and think about the bend in the ankle, the bend in the knee, the bend in the hip, and the pressure into that left hand. Inverted V on your breath, that little notch so that you can displace your head back just a tiny bit. And the right hand will come back. Let's turn the palm to face in. When you land on your fingertips or flat hand back here, open up, tuck the chin again, and then just stretch through the arm. Inverted V on the breath, right at the base of the nose. Come forward, bend deep. Now, you might be able to take the weight onto the foot. You can stay on your sit bones, but if you can go into that weight on the foot, you might be able to sweep this arm a little bit more and connect upper arm to shin bone. And again, breathe and lift. Few breaths. You can have your elbow bent, leading with the wrist, or reach through the fingertips. When we come back, we're going to come down, open up, tuck that chin in. Don't let the head go back. Just get as much of a stretch as you can through the arms. And when we lift up, grab underneath this left knee and bring the right one up. We're gonna make sure we're on the block again. Bring your attention to the navel, tuck it back, and then lift. And when you lift, we're gonna be focusing a little bit on that Jaladhara Bandha. So the chin tucks into that notch and the back of the neck lengthens. And then, so roll and lift. Roll and lift. Roll and one more. Let's pull that left leg in, and we now have the right there. And again, oftentimes I wiggle around on my block, so I'm going to assume you guys do too. Let's take a little bend in this elbow, kind of hook it into the inside. Think about the crease of the knee, crease of the ankle, and sweep around. Plant the hand, plant the foot, lead up with your left elbow, and if it's okay for the neck, extend through the fingers. Take a few breaths and notice we're still working into the side body like those first twists and isometric drills did, but you're going deep into the ankle, the knee, and the hip creases. Lift the head, kind of turn the torso towards the front. You can land on your fingertips or flat hand. It kind of depends on your body. Might be the flexibility, but it also might be just the proportions of the body. I have an extremely long torso in comparison to my arms and legs. And some people have long torsos. Some people are just proportioned perfectly. Let's come up, drop in. Now, if you can, you're going to go onto that foot. So you transfer your weight onto the foot, deep in the crease of the ankles, knee, and hip, and then connect your upper arm to your shin bone. Lead with your elbow first, and then see if it's okay to extend. Use the corner of your eyes to assist this pose, gazing up towards your elbow, hand, or ceiling. Use that inverted great V with the breath. And when you come down, just make sure you find your sit bones on that block. Plant the hand, turn the palm in though. So thumb faces down, tuck the chin in, and then take your stretch. As we lift up, this time, we're simply going to pull the foot back in, settle, adjust onto your sit bones. Find that connection of palms and thighs. Displace the head back just that bit to see if you can hollow out the back of the throat and feel that little notch where your shoulder blades your collarbones and your neck meet. Move the eyes to the back of the head and close them. Few breaths back to that inverted V. The first breath started on the outside edges of the mouth to the base of the nose. Find a deep space, kind of a cavernous space in the forehead. Come back to settle on your exhale at navel, hands, and sit bones. Circle the hands on the thighs, open the eyes. Turn the palms up. Breathe up. Tuck that chin in with a deep bend in the elbows. And when your arms soften to the ears, hollow out. Turn to the right. Release. This time, maybe you can bend a bit more into your right elbow. Drive that left hand up. Circle it around for your twist. Release, palms up. As soon as the fingers interlace, drop that chin into the little notch. Palms up. Now, big stretch. Turn a bit to the left. Open. Let's hand down, contract. You might be able to bend into the elbow as you're driving up this time. Maybe so, maybe not. Sweep the hand around for that twist. Release to bring your left foot up. Glide the hand to the inside and around. Open up with the right. See if you can find ease. Keep bringing that breath to the inverted V. Let's settle the hand, right hand behind us. Open deeply, tuck that chin in. Come forward to take the weight right onto that left. Circle the left arm around to lift. Set back. Lift and open. Remember to tuck the chin in. Hug the arm a bit to the side of the head and then reach back. And as we come up, pull the right one with. Anchor at the feet and navel. Lift the collarbones. Anchor feet. Navel, sit bones, and open. One more. Pull that left leg in. Bring your right hand to the inside and really hug the shin bone to the back of the thigh. Find that lift. Use the corner of your eyes and a nice inverted V breath. As we lift up, remember to tuck the chin in. Use the space in the back of the neck. Open deeply. As we pull forward, come deep onto that foot and open. Remember, you can always have the elbow bent or reach through the hand, but use the corner of the eyes and one inverted V. When we come back, make sure we find the block. And last one to open. So we come back, 3 breaths, and then we'll move into the more active, if that's what we would call it, part of the practice. As you settle back into your seated pose, notice the breath moving into the side body. Perhaps we've created some space. Can you anchor the navel back to the spine on your exhales and feel a strength coming down to the tip of the tailbone? Where's the head in relationship to where the collarbones and the neck meet? Where is it in relationship to the tip of your tailbone? And as we open up our eyes, let's bring our palms together for a moment, just kind of come back more to the physicalness of our body. And we are going to come off of our block, use the block as we go into down dog. So first, place it right here. Let's move into table. And then when you're going into down dog, the block will go that side. It can go either way. For me, it seems to work best here and halfway between the knee and the inner groin. Plant the hands, lift up into down dog. Now, see if you can remember that feeling of displacing the head back just an inch or two and letting the chin kind of drop into that little notch of where the neck and the two collarbones meet. And then take a few breaths there. When you're exhaling, think about the crease of the hip deepening and the navel just shrink wrapping back. Just notice that feeling there. We're going to walk our hands right back to our feet, bending the knees as we do so. As the weight comes to the feet, throw the thumbs up and the fingertips forward and keep that chin tucked in. So you're in a deep squat using the bend of the ankles and the knees, the crease of the hips, and then stand fully up. Now, as we stand fully up, use the block, don't grip it, lightly hold it, very lightly. Bring your right hand back with the palm facing down and your left hand forward with the palm facing down. And then anchor into the feet. And as you reach back with your right arm, imagine you're trying to internally pull your right hip forward. Then sit back, sweeping that right arm around, tuck the chin into that little notch in the collarbones, and then stand fully up again. Left arm's gonna roll back, palm down, and you're gonna imagine your left hip pulling forward as you reach back, and we have this right hand down, facing downward, warrior arms, basically. Drop the left arm as you are moving into the crease of the hips. Float the arms, tuck that chin in, and walk right back into your down dog. As you're walking into your down dog, find that distance between the hands and the feet that feels right. Lift the heels. Find the chin into the notch of the collarbones. And then press through the heels equally, hollowing out the abdomen. Doesn't matter whether the heels go to the ground. It's about what is happening in the spine and in your stabilizing muscles. Then lift the heels, release the chin, and try that a couple more times. The chin kind of tucks in, just that, don't push it, just give that kind of feeling of like it nestles in. Press through the heels and lengthen from your rib cage to your hips. One more. Release, and again. Now lift your heels really strong, come maybe almost to the toes. So you really engage your knees as your legs as you're coming down and drop to the knees. Grab your block in your left hand the long way, hop out of your right hand and bring the right foot forward. So we're gonna be up here. Start with this rolling back of the left arm with the block, and then imagine your left hip trying to pull forward. So you've created a bit of strength in the legs. Just drop the block. It can go anywhere that feels like you want to go for your first half camel. Land on the block and then lift out of the block. Lift out of the block to your solar plex. And like when we were seated, turn the palm in, the thumb down, and get an easy stretch with that arm. Lift straight up. Take the block into the thumb and the forefinger on both hands. And then drop, just like we've been doing, into the ankle, the knee, and the hip. As you do, try to stretch the abdomen, tuck the chin, and move the arms. Take a few breaths here to that inverted V. Push back just a little bit. Plant the block over on the left side of the mat. And you're going to curl the toes under. So Cynthia, watch from here for a moment. I'm going to drop a bit into this ankle and knee and see if I can sweep the arm back to lift to warrior. And if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can always use your hands to do so. Nestle into the feet, stretch into the arms, and then imagine as you push into your left heel that you're dragging your left hip forward and dropping deep into the crease of your right hip. Then exalt up with the right arm, stretch to the ceiling, and drop that chin right in to that notch of the collarbones. Let's do a full windmill. Move past your block to the ground with your left hand and take a nice lunging twist. See if you can lift out of your left heel, drive the ball of the left foot down, and move back with your right hip, expanding between the shoulder blades. Bring your right hand back to the hip and then to the ground. We're going to slide back into down dog. Take a breath, just a few breaths actually, just in your regular down dog. Move back to breath, but now think of the crown of your head. As you extend the crown of the head right between the thumbs, right there. Then lower that chin again into the notch of the collarbones. Just feel that length from wrists to hips and bring the knees down. We're going to grab our block. I'm just going to switch the other way because we'll be going left. Remember to place that block halfway in between here, and let's return. Whereas you're in table, lift back up to down dog again. We did a lot of stretching through this under part of the arm. When you're going into your down dog, lift the heels and add that stretching of the pit of the arms. Again, we're lightly holding the block. And as you're pressing the heels down and away from your sit bones, lock the chin, or not lock, but nestle. So think of it as not forcing, but resting the chin in that notch of the collarbones and energetically reaching the crown of the head between the hands. Do that a few times. Release the chin when you lift the heels, and then nestle it down and get the stretch. Lift those heels really slowly. See if you can really use the muscles in your feet, your toes, as you're lowering down. Take the block into the right hand and pop that left foot forward. We're going to work into a kneeling warrior here. With the arms, remember when we were standing a moment ago. Now, see if you can drag your right hip forward as if there's a string on it and you are pulling it forward with the muscles deep inside your body. Then take the left arm up, lower the right arm down, half camel. Once the block lands, first land on the block, then lift out of the block, then let the arm go behind you. And remember that kind of muscle memory that we created with the back of the neck, that the chin nestles in and you have lots of space and strength through the back of the neck. Lift yourself up. And remember, we're going to place the block into the thumbs here. That little L. You're turning to face to the front of the mat. And as you drop deep into the ankle and the knee, stretch out of the abdomen and shrink wrap that navel back and nestle the chin in. Take the block into the right hand, place it on the corner of the right corner of the mat and come up out of that crease of the knee several inches. Make sure the toes are curled under. Remember how we were using our foot. And sweep up to warrior. Have that stretch out, that strong feeling here. Then float the left arm up and drop the right. Again, chin nestles in, and we're going deep into the crease of this hip. Reach forward and slide the left leg back into down dog, and just take a few breaths. Now, play around a little bit with the weight in your hands and your feet. You have 4 points on the ground. You have the crown of the head energetically reaching between the hands. Now, take the tailbone reaching the opposite direction and see if you can press into your right hand and your left foot stronger than the other two. So you're doing kind of an X across. Then release that. Press into the left hand and the right foot. Take that diagonal line. Left hand, right foot, left shoulder, right hip, and then switch it again. One side, right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. It's very internal. Then release the chin, lift the heels, and use those muscles in the feet as you're lowering down. Excellent. We're going to take this block again, place it here. There it is. And come forward to table. Curling those toes under, lift up into down dog, and immediately start walking back to your foot. Or not your foot, your feet, because there's 2 of them. See how much you can drop into the crease of the hips before you bend into the knees. Keep your fingertips or palms connected to the ground. And then throw the thumbs up, tuck that chin in, and see if you can drive your hips straight back from your knees. Deep, deep squat with a full spinal extension and a full arm extension. Lift all the way up. Now again, we're going to sweep this right arm back, left arm forward, and for a moment, just kind of square the hips to the front. Take this block and place it to the side of your right foot, and then stand back up again. Okay, so we're going to drag our right hip forward, and then wrap our right arm underneath our left for eagle arms. Once here, lift your left heel. You'll cross the left knee across, on top of the right, and then place that left foot right into the block. Once you're there, squeeze the arms, and just like when we were seated, drop as deep into the crease of the hips and the knees and the ankles, but try to lift the arms up. Press a bit into this foot on the block and feel everything just, you keep your spinal extension, but your arms and legs want to feel as if they could wrap as deeply as you possibly can. Then unwind the arms, tuck that chin in. Just like in down dog, lift up and move into a tree pose. Woohoo! Now, with this left knee going out to the left, can you drag your right hip independently forward? Just notice deep inside the body what happens. Drop the arms out. Look down at your block so you can place your foot here again. And then wrap and drop. Lift the body up a little bit. Lift the foot up and squeeze to a full eagle pose. You can move your arms slightly to the right and then squeeze the knees to the center. And then stand up. When you stand up, let the arms kind of float out and feel like an eagle, kind of opening up your wings. And feel the strength kind of like flowing down. Just embody that moment that the eagle opens up its wings. Now right here, we're going to come back, take the block back. We're going to go into down dog and do a little twist and then come back and do the other side. So place the block here. Okay, bend in to Utkatasana and then place your hands on the ground and walk yourself forward. So you're going to walk into down dog. Take those lift of the heels, nestle the chin in, press back. Now see if you can press more into your right hand and your left foot than the other, and get light. Now if you can lift your left hand up, anchored into the right hand and the left foot, see if it's okay to bring that left hand anywhere across to the right side. Grab a hold, gaze underneath your right shoulder and twist. Now let's say that's not available. Just soften your left elbow, look underneath your right shoulder, and then bend a little bit more into your left knee. So you would, that's a kind of a little hack for this twist. If it's safer to keep the left hand on the ground, bend the left knee a little and gaze under that right shoulder. Plant that left hand down. Lift both heels, lower down to the knees. Grab your block in your left hand, lift up, bring your right foot forward, kneeling warrior. Now this time, what we're going to do is sweep the block around into the L of both thumbs, right here. Drop yourself into that deep lunge. How deep can you go into the ankle and the knee? Drop, kind of pushing that femur bone back into the hip socket. And then kind of inch the toes forward a little bit and really anchor into the ball of your left foot. Push back out of this a little bit. And again, watch here just for a moment. I'm going to take my block in the short side, starting to work back into a kneeling warrior, except for we're going to go into Trikonasana. So from here, I've got a little bend in my knee. I'm gonna move the block to the ground, slide the left foot forward, and really press strong into the legs. And then expand, expand, expand between the arms. Just place the head back, kind of tuck that chin a bit, not quite as far into the notch of the collarbones, just because you'll probably lose your balance, but it's just a little bit. See if you can deepen into the crease of the right hip and maybe wiggle the toes of that right foot, and then press into that block on the right side. Can you lengthen the right rib cage and rotate it, thinking of the navel as trying to lift up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand to the hip, then coming down to the left knee, we're going to pull the block back and into table from here. Go ahead, plant and walk yourself back. We're gonna do the eagle poses on the other side. Think of all the preparation we've been doing and internally. Lift the heels a bit. Then start to walk your hands back, pressing the heels down, keeping the hands connected to the ground till you have a nice deep bend in both knees. Throw the thumbs up, tuck the chin in. Now this, you have a deep dropping of the chin in as you lift all the way up. Then move the left arm back and the right hand forward and square this left hip forward. Internally. Find a way to be thinking of your hips being forward. Now, from here, we have to break this a little bit to bring the block over to the outside of that foot there. Now, start to bend into the crease of the hips and the knees as you're sweeping the left arm to wrap for eagle arms. Then look over at the block, pick up the foot, plant it onto the block, and then just like we did in the very beginning, go into the crease of the hip, squeeze the arms, and drop into it like you're sitting on the block. Unwind your arms. As we're standing up, we're gonna move that right knee out, place the foot in. It can be anywhere, it can be on the ground in fact. Doesn't really matter, tree pose. But you wanna think, can you drag your right hip pointer forward as the knee is pressing off to the right? This is a very, very internal action. Something might happen, something might not. But arms are gonna go out. Here they are. And you're gonna look at the block again. Make sure you look so that when the foot is coming, and we're coming back into that eagle pose. You're gonna wrap and wrap and wrap, and then go deep into the bend of the knees, the crease of the hips, and even the ankles. Then lift up a bit and check out your eagle pose, whatever it is. Maybe the arms could displace a little bit to the left, and you can squeeze the knees to the center. I find this to be an interesting thing, something that kind of came out of yoga bells, where my eagle pose kind of deepens into the crease of my hips when I, towards the end, not in the very beginning, but when whichever arm is on the top, I move it just past my center line. That's a new thing there. Okay, let's open up. Remember that eagle feeling? So when your hands are here, turn the palms up, anchor down, but then how open and expansive can you feel in your wings, in your breath, in your heart, up to that inverted V. And then go ahead and let's come down. Now again, we're going to come back with our block and walk forward into down dog. Walk it forward. Okay. Now go back and remember that feeling. Crown of the head energetically reaching between the hands. We are going to increase the pressure into our left hand and our right foot and get light and soft in your right elbow. Then sink a little deeper into that left foot and see if you can bring that right hand over, underneath, gaze under the shoulder for the twist. Now remember, if it's not available to lift the right hand up, it just doesn't feel safe. Soften the elbow, lift that right heel up and bend that knee a bit, and just gaze under the left shoulder. So you have the security, but you also have the twist. Then we are going to plant the palm down, lift our heels, really work through the feet. So when you're lowering down, you're using everything. Pop up and take that block right here. Bring the left foot forward. Nestle that chin in, go deep into the ankle and the knee, and can that femur bone just drive back into the hip? Now we're going to lift up a little bit and take the block into the left hand, but on this side here, and kind of be up. Now we're not so deep in here. This is such an interesting way to go into Trikonasana. And we've prepared in so many ways. So go a little bit into the bend of that knee, and then like you're going back into your kneeling warrior, but what you're going to do is slide the right foot up, plant it, bring the block next to the foot, and then open. Remember that moment after eagle pose when you spread the wings, that space. The arms. Now let's go to the left foot and drive that femur bone back into the hip and maybe even wiggle those toes a little bit. So we kind of have that feeling there like, okay. And then press into the block a little bit more, lengthen the spine. Can you think about rotating your navel up towards the ceiling? Internally. Whew. So much work, not moving. Bring your right hand back to the hip. Move the block out to the side, and then plant your hands down. We're going to go into down dog. Energetically drop the crown of the head between the thumbs. Press the ground away with all 4 points. Both feet, both hands. Nestle the chin into the collarbones. Find space in the heart, in the collarbones, in the back of the throat, and almost a cavernous space in the front of the forehead. Like an open space that you could just rest in for a moment. lift those heels lower down to the knees. And sweep the feet around and in front of you. Okay. We're going to, you can, I'm going to turn to the side here, but move the flesh away from the sit bones. And then grab underneath your knees. We're going to softly drop the chin, round the shoulders, press the navel back, and then tuck the tailbone. When we lift or bend the elbows and lengthen the spine up, remember that space in the front of the forehead. Bring a quiet space there, opening up. And then repeat, shoulders round, navel, tailbone, forehead. And imagine that each vertebra stacks and the energy rises up. But when it reaches the forehead and the crown of the head, it's just a soft, open place. And we're going to do one more of those. Round the shoulders, stretch through the arms, navel back, tailbone in. Soft elbows, mostly thinking about kind of the purpose of this practice. Creating space, life force, energy, up and down the spine, through the torso, and then quietly resting at the forehead. Now this time when we roll back, notice you kind of create a half of a ball. Let's lift our feet up and just roll to our back. Hug the knees in, softly flex the feet, and just feel, move the hands down more to the shin bones. Just kind of feel that drop into the crease of the hip, the deepening of the knees, and then the soft flex of the feet. Just bringing function to our lower body. We sit too much. We should squat more often. Then let go, find a comfortable position for Shavasana. And I'm going to take us through some points in the body, and then we'll rest for just a few moments. Palms will face up. Legs can be tented, lengthened, or even the soles of the feet touching. Knees dropping deeply outward. Surrender to the back of the body. And then drop your attention. Right heel, left heel. Right hip, left hip. Right heel, left hip. Left heel, right hip. Right heel, right knee, right hip. Left hip, left knee, left heel. Left heel, left knee, left hip. Right hip, right knee, right heel. Tip of the tailbone, back of the head. Cavernous space in the front of the forehead. And openness in the back of the throat. Right hand, left hand. Right shoulder, left shoulder. Right hand, left shoulder. Left hand, right shoulder. Right hand, right wrist, right shoulder. Left hand, left elbow, left shoulder. Right hand, right elbow, right shoulder, left elbow, left hand. Tip of the tailbone, back of the head. An openness in the heart, and that cavernous space in the front of the forehead as you softly drop to the back of your throat. With an opening of the palms, sweep them up overhead and stretch right to left and left to right. One more stretch side to side. Hopefully we just have this massively open rib cage. And then roll over to one side. Just take that moment, cradling the head in the hands and the knees to the chest. And then lift up to a seated position. Thank you for joining me. I'm just going to ask, we can return to our life with a calm mind and a strong and open body. Namaste.